If you're looking to get started doing Amazon wholesale, then this is the video you want to watch. I've got 3 7-figure Amazon sellers who are all done wholesale in their business and are interested to learn how they started and what they can share with you. Stay tuned. Right, I'm super excited. Why? Because I've got 3 7-figure Amazon sellers who have all done an element of wholesale within their business, and I'm interested to learn how to get started and what they can share with us. Let's get started and find out who we've got here today. Romer, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Avery, aka Romer the Romer. I started selling used books a few years ago, lived in my car, started scanning used books at thrift stores, built a 7-figure book business out of that, and I just started doing wholesale this year, and we're at about 14K profit last 30 days. So excited for this video.
I am jealous. My God, love it. Right, Gavin, go for it.
Name's Gavin Sweeney, started Amazon 3 years ago, got into wholesale about 3 months ago, and we're doing $130,000 revenue per month right now.
Wait, you started wholesale 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were like four years deep.
Oh no, that's OA. So
okay.
wholesale I'm completely new to.
He's the OG right here.
Kind of, yeah. My name's Johnny Smith. I do wholesale in the UK. I'm a multi-7-figure seller, selling across 3 different platforms, Amazon, Shopify, and eBay. And I've been doing wholesale for about 4 or 5 years now. Yeah.
And you've been doing reselling for what, 15 now, I think?
I've been selling for 15 years.
Wow,
yeah.
long time. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's just put it this way. If I want to get started in wholesale, what are the things that I want to be thinking about before I actually start? Can I go through that? Roma, like for you, you've just been doing it for 4 months.
Yeah, I can just talk about my experience. I don't want to be too much of a guru here, but last year what I did was I bought several wholesale courses, went through them, and the underlying principle was you can either reach out to the brands directly or the distributors. And so the approach that I took was I used Smart Scout, shout out to Scott Needham, and I looked for brands doing between 30,000 and 100,000 each month. I reached out to all those brands. Most of them said no. Almost all of them said no. A few said yes, and the ones that said yes weren't that good product-wise. The ones that said no, I said, what distributors would you recommend that you have that I can purchase from? They would give me a list of distributors, and then I set up 50 wholesale accounts, went through all their list or a lot of their list, and found nothing. And so then it's a combination of me just networking. I post on social media all the time, host a Miami Sellers Conference, and I just network with Amazon sellers all the time. Me and a friend now share a wholesaler, he's a distributor, and that's what worked out for me. So I did all the things you're supposed to do, and then what worked for me was actually just networking. And so I'm sure if I went through those lists that I have, I could find some good product, but right now I have really good product that I'm buying that's it's ridiculous. It's 100% ROI, and it's selling really fast. So I'm putting all my eggs in that basket and growing it. Dad's calling me, so I'll ignore that call. But that's kind of my experience with wholesale. I know a lot of people do it differently, but that's what's worked for me.
Gavin?
For myself, my main edge for wholesale is just my network as well, man. I've got a whole bunch of friends who will give me leads, that kind of stuff, give me distributors. So I kind of have most of what I need. But in terms of when I do go to a distributor or a brand, well, it's mostly distributors actually, I'm looking at products that I want to buy in the first place. So I already know what I want to buy. So I ask for a list of specific brands, mostly beauty and supplements. So I go to them with knowing what I want, and I usually ask them for specific products hi, I'm a multi-platform e-commerce seller or whatever, and then I'm interested in building a partnership. Do you have these products or perhaps these brands? And they'll either get back saying yes or no. If they don't get back to me, then I'll call them. But I think it helps if you be more specific and not just being hey yo, what's up? Can I have a list? Can I see what you're selling, mate?
Yeah.
But I'm no, I want to buy this product, this product, this product. I want to say specific. I'm talking about specific ASINs that I like. So that's how I start it.
Yeah, and they're not going to know the ASINs, but they'll know the
product name, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
UPC.
So I'll give them the EAN or the UPC and the product name.
Yeah, and
I'm guessing don't give them the ASIN, because that's just going to show you're an Amazon seller, and that's not going to know.
When I say ASIN, I just mean the product itself.
And a lot of times they don't even care if you're an Amazon seller. They just don't want to deal with small sellers placing a $2,000 order and then messaging them 20 times, hey, is my order in? Or being obsessive about the tracking. They want somebody who's going to send $50K and not communicate at all. Just be all right, see you next month. They don't want a liability. So don't think, because I have to lie about being an Amazon seller. You can do this. Just let them know that you're serious and that as time goes on, you'll spend money with them.
If that's the case, we tell them we generate $200,000 a month in revenue then.
Let's ask the OG.
Yeah.
The OG.
Teachers.
Well, so how does it work in your business? Tell us that. So how do you find?
Right, so the first thing I'd say was to find resale-friendly brands. So you don't want brands that are dominated by Amazon retail, essentially. So there's a higher probability if there's a lot of FBA sellers on a brand, that you could probably find a distributor from a distributor. The second thing is obvious, but have a business. It doesn't matter 100%, but it's going to help dramatically. Third one, have a business email. Fourth, just get an email template that works. Maybe A/B test that, test a few different ones. And the fifth one, really, it's just a numbers game, right? You find those brands, just Google brand, go on the brand's website, look for like a trade form or look for a contact email, or go on their LinkedIn and find the right contacts. Do that, write that in your sort of sales, your pipeline, your CRM, or whatever you have to track all this. And then the next stage is just search that brand distributors on Google, and then again get all the different distributors and add it to your Google sheet of all the different suppliers. And then you have your professional email, you have your professional template, and you just send emails up. And if they don't respond, guess what? You follow up. If they don't respond to that, then you call them. There's a lot of different wholesalers that just don't get back by email, so you've got to call up. If they don't even reply to you on the phone, then go see them. Go see them at a trade show, go to their offices if you really want and try and get an appointment.
I want to do that. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I've heard really good stories of like visiting a wholesaler.
Yeah. So
even just to land the account.
Yeah. So I think it's again a numbers game, and just making sure that you have maybe create a Wix corporate website just to look a little bit more professional and have a good system in place and make it repeatable and just do it over and over again. And it's not difficult to find distributors by searching. This is a WeWork cut, but that doesn't help. But maybe you wanted to find out a different brand like Cadbury, search Cadbury distributors, and then just write it all down. In the UK, it's even easier because there's a company database, so you can find out literally everything from that.
When I was ordering printers from Amazon, doing Amazon to Amazon flips, sometimes it would have the distributor name on the box.
Because they just drop ship it direct from the distributor.
So I took the box name and then tried to make a case for the distributors. So that's quite an interesting way as well. Like the hints are everywhere, aren't they? If you're aware, the hints are there. Google Maps works too for finding wholesalers.
Question for you, because you both talked about it, like, if I put it this way, you've done all the courses, you've followed what everyone says, and that's the advice, didn't work, and I understand, because my God, I hear the stories, man, I did everything, it didn't work, and like, I'm sure a lot of them didn't actually do everything, but I'm sure some of them did. Yeah. You're saying I did that, and I know you're a hustler, you do it, but like, what if someone is looking to, should we say, they've done that, and they are looking to do I want to build a network and maybe find some recommendation through some, a network rather than from like the Google approach.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for that maybe how you built that?
Well, Twitter's been popping off. Like, I'm not a big Twitter guy. Like, I came up on YouTube and Instagram, and that's kind of how I built my following. But I would say, like, for beginners, I'm seeing people post on Twitter and absolutely just blowing up. So whatever platforms you like every time I have a thought, I'm not very good at Twitter. I have like less than 1,000 followers, but I just tweet it, and I'm sure I'll get better over time. But that's how I did my YouTube and Instagram. Like, you just Gary V, you document the journey, you document where you're at, you don't pretend like you're someone else, you don't pretend like you're better than you are, and just post pictures of what you're currently doing. Put yourself out there, answer DMs, don't pretend you're a guru. You will be a guru to somebody who's below you, so like, it'll just come naturally with time, but you'll have so much opportunity just from that, literally just from like posting pictures of what you're doing and networking with the community. There's a huge community on Instagram. Post your videos on YouTube. Nobody does this. Like, people are scared of YouTube, but your first videos will get like 10 views, 1 view. That's okay. Keep doing that, and then as time goes on, you won't believe the opportunity that will come to you because of just your following.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's so true.
Go on.
I've been DM'd on like social media, being like, do you have 80k to help me with this order? Some friends who I know from like Twitter and stuff, it's like, yeah, like show me the leads list. I'm like, okay, can I just like take like 20 or 30k of it? We gotta take it all, bro. We gotta take it all. I was like, I don't have this much money right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I interviewed Dan 1000 Asins.
Yeah.
He talked about in his warehouse, he has like 3 other Amazon sellers, and he's one of the 4. It was like they had to share a warehouse. By the way, it's partitioned, it's massive. The guy does 12 million a year, so he's not a small seller. And he's like, even at that level, they're still going in on big orders together because it's competitive.
Yeah, it's groupthink. You bounce ideas off each other. You got a few friends you text with. So like, become friends with these people, and then shameless plug, like, go to events. Like, you're going to be speaking at Miami Sellers Conference next year, hopefully, if you can make it. And when you meet people in person, I'm not currently drinking alcohol, but it's nice like when I'm drunk, just talking with another seller and we're just like sharing all these secrets, and that's the best time, like when the cameras are off, you're sharing secrets and you're building real connections. So not just online, but also in person. There's something magical about that.
Gavin, obviously, we talked about Twitter a minute ago. You talked about YouTube and that app. Actually, I would agree. I think Twitter's a really good space. Any kind of advice about just creating a following on Twitter so that you can kind of network with these people, maybe get DMs for the magical.
So I'm going to say you're kind of doing it a little bit wrong on your Twitter.
Probably. I tweeted like 10 times this morning.
Yeah, so like if you have a small Twitter account, it's about trying to provide value for other people. So you follow the bigger accounts on Twitter, and then when they post stuff, you comment on what they've got.
I've been commenting on other people's stuff too.
Okay, that's good. Because I've seen a few of your posts.
Okay.
And it's like you get 100 views or something, like almost minimal views. One of the posts was something like, DM me something to get this free guide.
Yeah.
Whereas actually you want to say comment below saying this, and then I'll DM you the guide. That way you get engagement.
I started doing that. I think that was like my really old tweet when I was like, that's like Instagram style.
But the problem you have is that on Twitter, not many people know you, myself included, to be honest. So you don't have authenticity. So when you're doing stuff like this, you want to work to build authenticity first by providing a lot of value, and then you start doing this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
If you jump straight to like giving away free guides like straight away when you're like 100 followers, then it comes across as you're trying to instantly sell something and upsell people.
Yeah. That's a thing. That's the thing. Like
it's a massive long-term game.
You can make something true like 100% free with like zero sales pitch at the end of it. But because we live in a world where if you give something away for free, everybody knows that eventually there's that right hook, there's that offer. Then even if you truly make something that is free with no pitch, nobody knows it because all they're seeing is the front end free, and they're not seeing that you're not pitching them in the back end.
Or is that the catch?
Yeah.
That's the catch. Yeah.
And that catch could just be engagement. It's like I have my entire leads list for the UK that we had when we sourced it. It's like over 7,000 deals. Like once a month, I would just give that away for free to like 10 people who just like retweet and comment something.
Yeah.
Right, I appreciate we're going a bit off tangent.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Johnny. Johnny, you want to say something now, and then I'd like to carry on with questioning down the wholesale side. So go on, you can say something.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's all about persistence, and especially when you're working with brands. Some of my best brands I work with, it took 18 months to actually get that account. And the thing is, the brands, they have a certain amount of allocation that they can give out, and they have a certain amount of allocated FBA sellers who will work for them at a time. And what happens is they might have an FBA seller dropping off or not performing, and that's where you have to go in there. It's just consistent emails being there so they actually remember who you are. That always works wonders. And it's persistence and finding enough brands that you keep following up and following up and following up. Eventually, you should be able to get that account. Like it's just a time thing and persistence and keep touching base.
Do you think it's better to be more specific when doing wholesale? Because like in my head, like I think it works best by knowing exactly what you want and then going to the wholesalers asking.
I agree with that. I think that's a mistake I made, was just casting the net way too wide, not knowing what I wanted, being overwhelmed with all the list I had, versus like having like a few products that I know I want to land an account with someone who has this brand. Because then when you pick up the phone, you're like, I'll spend $20K on this product if you have it, versus like, I have no idea any of these brands. I don't know if these products sell. I don't know if these categories sell. You know what I mean? So I agree with you on that.
So I went down. I sell in one category. So I sell it. I'm a grocery seller. I have my own store which has about 100 plus Trustpilot reviews. So I always go in with the pitch of that I have multiple different distribution methods. Amazon, eBay, World Food Shop. When I speak to brands, I'm always saying I sell on Amazon. When I speak to distributors, I kind of leave that off because it's distributors. Like I don't care too much about them as much, but it's the brands I try and like actually give my proposition of what value I can give them, and that is I can sell. I have a business in Germany. I have an Amazon business in Germany, so I can export to Germany for them. I have a Shopify store that has X amount of reviews, and I do close to 200,000 a month on Amazon. So I always say, look, I can buy your products. Mentioning stuff like I have custom inventory management systems, and it's all about what is your edge over, like why would they pick you over another customer and other seller. And again, for me, I have things that other people don't have, and that is a legitimate store. And
question for you, like these guys are talking about, like you did it broad, grocery distributor, call them all up. And you're saying like go Pacific, like I want Maybelline beauty products and just the eyeliner, that's it. Like that's what, like one model, for example. What do you do? Do you open up, do you like go, I'm just trying to get all the distributors, or are you like, I'm only really after a certain types of brand with the distributors? What's your approach?
So if they're going to be a distributor, I would want them to be sort of the official brand's distributor, because every brand will have an authorized distributor who's allowed to sell for them. If you're going for a wholesaler who they could potentially buy from that distributor and then that distributor's buying from the brand. So I try and get it sort of the second in the supply chain.
So manufacturer or the brand, or the brand manufacturer or the distributor.
The official distributor.
Not down to wholesale.
And sometimes that official, it could be about 2 or 3 official distributors. And usually you can find those on the website, on the brand's website, or you can find it by just calling them up.
And you're not specifically going after a certain brand, for example. You're like, I'm just trying to contact all the distributors and start building relationships, and the brands obviously as well, like those top 2.
So I look for grocery, and I look for something that has a high amount of FBA, or I actually look at my competitors. Usually my top competitors, brag is like 200. I was like top 250 seller on Amazon UK. I look at people in like the top 10 and be like, who are they buying from? What brands have they got? And like, why am I not selling those? So then again, it's just like, get to the source, right? How are they buying that at such a good price that they can sell on Amazon? And it's all about getting to the source and contacting them and go and do that.
Does that work more for smaller brands? So let's say if I'm doing Maybelline, like trying to get all the official distributors from Maybelline, I'd imagine everyone would have access to that. So because it's such a massive brand, everyone has the same access. So then perhaps the smaller wholesalers would have a better offer.
I think for smaller brands, the best approach is adding value for them. They might just want that exposure to Amazon. So if you're a smaller seller starting on wholesale, you could go in with a proposition that I can create listings and unique bundles. I'm part of the Hive, which trains that unique bundles. Just small sort of pitch. So I think that proposition to smaller brands, because they're looking for exposure and getting up. Like some brands have said, can you list in Europe for me? Can you create these listings in German for me? So it's going with those value propositions that you can add. So, it could be you're really good at creating listings.
And what about the big brands, the big ones?
They're tough. They're really, really tough.
So that's where you go for the smaller wholesalers?
The big brands, the big brands, I've got them with a few £billion ones. It's a persistence and then having enough allocation. There's like, I don't have enough allocation to give you enough product.
Question for you. You talked about earlier on persistence.
Yes.
Now you talk about following up. One of your brands took 18 months to get hold of. Like, wow, like massive respect. Are there any tools that you're using? Like I know in like the sales world, we have like email auto things that you can send out a sequence. Like I think like quick mail would be an example. Like, do you add them into like these CRM software? Like you'll just literally have an 18-month chain of emails that will go out to them like once every 3 months to remind them that you still exist. Do you do anything like that at all, or is it quite manual?
So we use Google Sheets, and that's kind of I probably could go into an automated sort of thing. I'm a software developer as well. I know there are tools that you can do the whole automated process where it send an email and then it will follow up over a month after. There are tools, I don't know if Salesforce or anything like that does it, or
I know
HubSpot maybe does it. Vendrive
is the wholesale kind of do it. I don't know who does the email outbound.
Yeah.
But I think even from like a sales perspective, you have like send 2 emails, then make a phone call, send 2 more emails, then make a phone call, then do a text, then a WhatsApp. Like you can do the whole kind of sequence. But like for us, managing that is really hard, and I understand why you use a Google Sheet. Because there's so many suppliers that you're looking at.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the only manual thing I do in the business is how that sort of, we call it like a sales sort of pipeline. Don't know why we call it a sales pipeline, but we have a Google Sheet, which again, every stage, and then we'd say once we have the account, that's ticked off, and that's on to the next one.
Time for the next one. Yeah,
Time for the next one. It's just all about the follow-up, isn't it?
I will say though, some of the best deals we've ever had so far is from very small wholesalers and massive brands. I'm talking like 100 to 200% ROI, sales thousands per month.
That could be because they have too much supply, so they're trying to get rid of that. So even on my retail store, we're always offering special offers every month, and we're doing it at cost, or 10%, 15% above cost, which for a lot of people is that product's now going to work on Amazon. So I'd say like those smaller wholesalers, I imagine they have too much supply and they're trying to get rid of it, and you're exactly right. That's a really good opportunity.
So that's become our edge of wholesale in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oversupply and wholesale trying to get rid of it.
Market inefficiencies and as resellers, that's what we take.
Which is arbitrage,
yeah, exactly.
Precisely.
Yeah, and arbitrage is wholesale arbitrage books reselling Exactly the same things. Yeah, any kind of final advice you've got that obviously you've picked up on the journey?
Yeah, I would just say like focus on what you want. I know it's kind of going against your advice, but I think the mistake I made was just being like, all right, I'm doing the work, and then I was like, holy crap, I have 50 accounts, and I don't know which one to like look at first, because it's a lot of work going through a wholesale list. You know, you can use software, you can go through it manually, and it's like going through 50. That's a lot of work. You know, so versus like knowing what you want, getting that wholesale account, or maybe getting 5, and then being able to go through those lists, being more excited. Like, oh, is it my product in here? Is the brand in here? You know, and that's what I do now. I have really one wholesaler that I'm working with, and I spent like all day yesterday just looking through potential products and like putting together my PO, and it's like, it's stressful now. It's like, you know, I'm spending money, it's coming back to me, but it's like, I don't want to overstock. I want to make sure I'm getting the best thing I can. You know, I want to make sure I'm getting things that are going to get in quickly.
It's not books, is it? This is an investment.
Yeah, because you're spending like, I mean, I'm almost to 130,000 spend in the last 6 weeks, and it's like, all right, let's be careful, because I don't want to put all my money in like ASIN that's going to take 4 or 5 months to sell. You know, it's just, I'd rather have that money in my bank account.
Fair.
I remember it from like a long time ago. I opened up a wholesaler, IT distributor in the UK, West Coast. They're like one of the top 5 distributors in the UK. I asked them for a pricing list. They went, we don't normally provide them. It's like, can you just provide me one, please? I'm like, okay, 500,000 products on there. I was like, yeah, this is like not gonna happen.
This is what you asked them for.
Yeah, I asked them for it, and obviously I got what I asked for. But yeah, it's like
they must have thought, oh no, this guy's a new guy.
We were. Let's put it that way. And I stopped wholesale. So that's fine. Gavin, any advice from your side?
Yeah, so if you already do away, then you know what products sell. So instead of just blanket asking for wholesalers, why not get wholesalers for the products you're already selling and already making money on?
Yeah.
And you know the sales data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's already your niche. You already have a niche of OA. Don't make a new niche for wholesale. Just transition to the same thing, but you buy from distributors. And it's kind of like why I sometimes email retail outlets. If I already buy a lot from them, like I just email them, hey, can we get a bigger discount if I drop 10 grand with you or something?
Yeah.
And quite often they go like, yeah, we'll give you 4 or 5% extra.
I've seen
do
that
bank
before.
transfer.
You know, OA stores who are like, we don't sell to resellers. You go, oh, do you do wholesaling? Oh yeah, I'll sell you to the department. I'm like, what? It's really interesting. So.
And a lot of people get into wholesale who do away, but they'll start wholesale again. But no, just do the products you're already selling. It just makes so much sense. You're making life a lot easier for finding new products as well, because you already know what to put in. It's like this product name or this brand name wholesale. And the thing is, the reason why that works, because sometimes maybe you have to log into the website to get access to various products that they sell, but sometimes the website's not entirely encrypted or secured. So you might find a wholesaler that has that product being picked up. So you pick up the back-end link to that product.
Yeah, I've seen it before. You like Google it and then you can see it, but you can't get in, but you can see the link exists, or it's on like some weird download that's just got a list of EAN numbers or UPCs. You're like, these guys have it.
Exactly.
I'll give you a call. Johnny, final thoughts from your side?
So yeah, it's great advice. Go through your existing catalog, existing products, and then group by brand and find those distributors. Really good advice. I'd also say maybe just narrow down on a category that you enjoy, not necessarily in business, but I like food. I know a lot of brands, so I get into grocery because I know that product and I like it. If you know electronics, then look up electronics. I had a friend who started a Korean beauty website, and they got lots of wholesalers and brands pretty quickly because they had an interest in it. So yeah, pick a category. If you like beauty, go into beauty. If you like food, go into groceries, etc., etc. So yeah.
Can I ask, have you tried all 20,000 products in your?
When I was working at the warehouse, I did put on a few bit of weight. So
do what you love.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if anyone wants to get in contact, what's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
Roam with the Roamer, all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, trying to grow my Twitter. Hit me up, I answer all DMs.
Fantastic. Gavin?
So you can get me on Twitter, Gavin Sweeney, 2 Ys, and also Facebook, Gavin Sweeney.
Johnny?
Never mind the buy box. We're on YouTube, on all the different podcast channels, and then from there we have all the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and I'm a host there occasionally as well, so never mind the buy box. Yeah.
And obviously, you can catch me on Fast Track FBA, this channel that obviously you're probably going to be watching us on. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing, and hopefully you guys found this valuable. I'll put all their links down below, and obviously if you've learned anything, please drop it in the comments. But what I will say is thank you guys, and you guys hit the subscribe button, and make sure you follow these guys too. Thank you very much. Take care,
guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.